Hello, welcome to our channel. I'm Lauren, and this is Sheri.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about cell phones with children up to adulthood, mostly children. But anyway, we're going to just have an informal conversation about what our experience has been. Both Sheri and I started the whole when we were raising our older children. My oldest is 28, and so our older children were raised in the beginning of the cell phone era when younger people started getting their own phones. So it should be an interesting conversation.
Yeah,
So we hope you join us. And
cell phones, have put a whole nother spin, bringing things into families into homes that, us as parents, we're trying so hard to be the gatekeepers of our home and to protect the inside of our home. And the cell phones has kind of like um, given open doors for anything and everything, and you've got to really be on it if your kids do have a cell phone.
absolutely.
So Lauren, I have a question for you. So did you have a rule, like, as your kids were growing? I know your oldest is 28. Is that what you said?
Yeah, he'll be 29 next month.
Okay,
So
so my oldest, we have two 33s. So
okay.
so they were in the hype of when all the cell phones were taking place, and they got cell phones early. My son did. Um, I think he got a phone, I want to say at 13. And that was even pushing back because so many, even elementary age kids have these cell phones, and
Yeah.
so as my kids were growing up, we kind of made a rule, okay, you can't have a phone till you're 16. However, we've kind of bent that a little bit. I've regretted it every time, um, because I think, oh, I'm going to be looking at text and monitoring. I let them know, I'm going to be monitoring their text and things. Um, but with the delete button and everything else, a lot of things can be hidden. And these are with my biological children, adopted children, foster children, it's all across the board. So, anyway, so tell me how your experience and what you guys have done regarding cell.
So so our oldest kids, I can remember. I don't remember their exact age. I think they were around like either. I think they were like uh 15 and 17 or 14 and 16 when my oldest two got their first phone. And we had always said that they could have a phone when they got jobs. However, we ended up making an exception because as they get once they start driving, it's like it really, they, in my opinion, it was like it was time, because I don't want them driving around without having a phone. um, and that being said, they didn't necessarily have a job the minute they started driving, because we lived about 35 minutes out of town, and so it was just practical to have them get their licenses um, as pretty much as soon as they could. So anyway, but then the next two in line, they got theirs a little bit earlier, and of course I had told them nobody could have a cell phone until they could pay for it. But that being said, I was fostering very young children and quite a large group of young children, and my 14 and my 16-year-old daughters, they helped me so much that I just made a decision that to give them their own cell phones because of all the help that they did around the house. So anyway, so yeah, so that was how I worked it with them. And then further down the line, my oldest of this group, she's the only one that has a cell phone. She's 13. She actually got hers when she turned 10. And the only reason was because she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and it is a piece of medical equipment where it helps with her Dexcom and her pump, and it sends out an alarm if she goes low. It sends out an alarm to us if she goes low. And so for us, we saw that as an absolute necessity. So So she's kind of in a different category because she's been, opened up to the cell phone world. Now with her, we've been very, very strict. We have not allowed her to just give out her phone freely, other than to people that we are aware of, and usually not boys. However, if they're a close family friends, then there are a few that she has that are boys. Now, as she gets older, obviously that will change. But that being said, even girls, you have to be so careful because I mean, excuse me, my 9-year old, she's used my cell phone a lot to text her friends, and I have allowed that. I say a lot, off and on. And there's been times when the friend was being inappropriate, and it was a girl, and I ended up having to shut it down. And I just said, I gave her an opportunity. I said, you need to read this and see what this says. And it was just not good. And so she asked the girl to stop doing what she was doing. And it was like some hardcore cussing and also kind of some violent memes and stuff like that. And she texted and told the girl that she needed to stop. And when she didn't, then I told her, you need to let your friend know that you can't text her anymore. So the nice thing about that, when it's your own cell phone, is that you can keep a close eye on it. So I've allowed her to do that a little bit, and that's worked out pretty well. So
Yeah, so for us, um, yeah, I have this, when you say, oh, when you're 16 and your kids are 8, well, you blink and they're now 16 or
oh,
they're
for sure, yeah,
15 and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not ready. And so I have had so many regrets, but I also know that I want them to be able to get a hold of me if they need to.
true.
I have recently found a cell phone that I wish I would have known about. And before I give you the name, they are not paying me to spit this out. I'm just telling you from my experience how it's affected our family. So I have a 17-year-old. She has a disability, and she had a regular cell phone. Well, she got herself in big trouble by sending photos, receiving photos, texts that were completely inappropriate. So um, we took the phone from her, and then I found a friend told me about this other phone, and it's called the Pinwheel, and it's Pinwheel. And with this phone, it's unlimited texting. They can make phone calls. You, as the parent, are the administrator giving access. You are the one who, okay, this person wants to have this phone number in their contacts, so you put it in their contacts. Or say she adds it, it has to go to you for approval before that person can start texting. And I can see everything on my computer. So I don't even need to take the phone from her at all. At all. I can see everything on my desktop or my tablet or my laptop, whatever you have. And I'm able to go through all the text. I have um, granted access to her to for all of her siblings. They can in exchange photos, but nobody else. So and it's just like a slide over button that you can approve each. You have to go through each contact. Okay, this person they can receive and send photos. This person they cannot access Facebook or any online um, uh, I don't. Someone has mentioned to me that you have to grant them access for it, but I haven't found that. And she's had this now for I'm going to say 6 months. So, but I'm not. I She's just fine how it is, and she's able to communicate with her friends. Um, she's able to listen to music on her phone. You would never know. The phone looks like my. It's an Android, a very very nice Android phone. You would have no idea that it's with Pinwheel. You would have no idea. And so it's just so you know the cost. It's $19.99 a month. You pay for the phone outright. So her phone costs $200 a month. No, I said that wrong. Her phone costs $200. So you
That's
have to
not
pay,
bad.
yeah, you have to pay for the phone, and then it's a 19.99 for the line. And so and um anyway, she's able to use the camera. She is a happy camper. There's been times where I've looked at some text and it wasn't horrible text, but um, it was enough where I needed to say, come here, we need to have a talk, because you're like getting really close to the borderline here of, what is okay and what's not okay, and so, but it's just so much comfort in me that I don't have to grab her phone. I don't have to hope that, um, you know, um, I know her password or whatever. It's just really easy. While I'm on the computer, I can go right over to Pinwheel and just kind of take a quick look at what's going on. And everybody's happy. So
That's awesome.
I cannot say enough about the Pinwheel. It has really, really worked. In fact, two of my kiddos are 13. When they get a phone, they will be getting this phone. And I believe that this phone is a great phone for in the future going forward for kids, or even trainer wheels like, okay, let's see if I can trust you with the phone or not.
Sure. Yeah.
And when they do have a job or whatever, and if they, if you wanted to get them another phone, which honestly, I wouldn't. I mean, as long as this phone is working and they're under my roof, um, I do not mind paying $20 a month and making sure my kids are okay.
Sure.
Just have
Yeah, absolutely.
that, there's no one out there trying to make, plans to, um, meet after school or whatever,
Hmm.
And then,
Hmm.
and also one thing with this Pinwheel is they cannot delete anything. They just,
Wow.
they cannot delete any text. So there's a real safety in it that
Definitely.
yeah, I can sleep well with.
I really like that idea. So I have a question for you, Sheri.
Mhm.
Um, what age will you consider giving your younger children a phone? At what point?
Well, probably sooner than 16, but I'm not gonna give you a time because my kids are probably gonna watch this.
Oh, that's so funny. 25.
Yeah, you're 25.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I don't want to give
Okay.
anything away, but they're I know that they're going to be watching this
That is
video,
funny.
so I don't want to give too much away. But definitely, it makes me rethink the 16 age thing.
Yeah.
Now that I know that, um, with my other daughter, and just she was kind of the guinea pig with this phone, and I'm so thankful that one of my friends suggested it. That's how I found out about it.
Is it unlimited data?
It is, yes.
Wow, that's a really good price,
It
actually.
is. It's cheaper than if you got a line at, I'm with US Cellular.
Yeah,
This would be
yeah,
cheaper, and the phone is cheaper. And it's a beautiful phone.
that's
And
amazing.
they can
Yeah.
play games on it. They can do a lot with this phone. Yeah, they can't get on Facebook. kids don't, they, that's okay. Like,
Right.
um,
Right.
you know, they're able to communicate with their friends. So, and they're not, a lot of these kids, all my friends have a phone and I'm the only one that doesn't, and I look funny, blah blah blah, blah, or whatever. But I try not to listen to that too much. But I just know with this phone, I sleep well at night now.
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah,
worth its weight in gold.
it
I
is.
know it's such a funny thing because in our society, I mean, our kids are homeschooled now, but when they were in public school, it was like, my third graders coming up to me saying, most of the kids in class have a phone and I don't have a phone. And I'm like, and I think that's that's the point, part of the point of this video is to let parents know, don't feel obligated. You don't need to give a phone to your child when your neighbor gives a phone to their child. Everybody has different circumstances. If my kids were all, going all over the place without me, I would probably give more of them phone. And with our 13-year-old, she needed one, and so it works. But some people choose to give their 7-year-old a phone. That is definitely not going to be our household, but for some people it is. But definitely don't feel pressure from your kids or their friends or whoever to get one, because I will say one thing is it definitely is life changing.
Yeah.
Once they step into the cell phone world, it is life changing. They're going to be distracted more by it. They're going to be just like we are. And I think that's one thing that I realize for me. I think about how hard it is for me to stay focused on my day without sitting on my phone. I struggle sometimes with it.
Oh, not to interrupt you,
Yeah,
but one of the things with this phone too, you could set parameters of when they're able to access the phone.
I love that.
So
I
if it's
love
during
that.
a school day, you can block out that school day
Excellent.
where they're only able to, say you only want
Excuse
them to
me.
access it from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 7 o'clock at night. You can set those parameters with this phone.
That is fantastic because I know when we've had the times that we've had sleepovers, excuse me, even if we didn't have cell phones, my girls know that they're not allowed to, like, my daughter knows she's not allowed to get on her phone at nighttime. But they'd have friends over and I'd be checking on them, and they're on 11:30 at night, they're on their cell phones. And I'm like, for me, that puts a risk to my girls too. And so
Yeah.
I definitely, and so I would have to say, okay, we need all, and I feel like a booger when I say it, like I'm a mean person, but I'm like, we need to put all the cell phones away, because what I found happened, either my girls were on the internet with these kiddos, or the kiddo would stay up half the night
Right.
by themselves, and either way it was not a good situation.
And you know
So
what, Lauren? Chances are those families that are, the kids that are spending the night, their parents probably have those same rules that the phone gets put up, but because they're not at home, they're, you know,
yeah,
so if you're
yeah,
not a booger, the parents would probably say, thank you very much. I'm glad
yeah,
that you did that. So,
yeah, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I'm my worst, I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to that. But you just feel like a meanie, and you're just like, no, this is not what's happening. In fact, even recently, we had someone over, and they're in the room. It got all quiet, and they came out, and ends up there. She was she was initiating having the kids make prank calls.
oh,
And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. And they're like, we're just calling our friends. And I'm like, no, you're not going to make prank calls on anybody. It's not kind. You don't need to be doing that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
anyway, so yeah, it's a definitely there's such a wide range of ways that it can be handled with each family. And so
And when we'll put the pinwheel.com in the comments just so people could be able to access that if that is something that they are interested in looking into.
yes, please, because I definitely want to that's what I will be getting for my other kids when the time comes for them
Mm-hmm.
to get a cell phone. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
All
Well,
right.
Lauren, it's been good seeing you today.
It's been good seeing you too. I know we kind of had a little bit of a lapse of time there. So, and
I
don't
know life happens, and
it does?
we
Yeah.
have families, and but it's good to see you, and I'm glad you're doing okay. And if you guys have any questions, if you have anything that you want us to talk about that you're interested in, please leave it in the comments below. We would love to discuss it. And so please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
One other thing I'd like to add, if anybody else has a different how they handled it, put it in the comments. We'd love to see how
Oh,
different people have handled cell phone use for their children. So
absolutely.
thanks for watching.
Okay. Thank
Say
you.